All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin Technical College. And as part of the Rankin Technical College Application and Website Development, or AWD1111 Database-Driven Web Development class, I've been going through and doing a series of video presentations based on some of the PDFs for Mr. Flavio Cope's The Valley of Code. I am in the first one, so I'm right now going to do the fourth out of probably what will be 5 or 6 presentations on the HTML handbook. So right now I'm 50 pages in, and we're going to talk about tables. Now I'm going to go back. Everything that I've done in here is actually on this. Okay, it's all here, but I'm just going to keep commenting stuff out. All right, now what doesn't it like here? So this was that thing that I put in here for the text area. I'm just going to remove that. All right, good. Now if I save and I go back and I bring this back up, that's all I've got, which is nothing. That's good, because I want to come in here and I want to create a table. All right, so let's make a table, and tables go within table tags. All right, and they typically have a header at the top, so I'm going to make a header. In fact, it's going to be a row, a table row, and in that row we're going to have a bunch of headers. So I'll have a table header, first name, another table header with last name, and finally another table header which will say department. Okay, I'm just going to leave it just with those, and now bring this up. And there I have it. Looks pretty ugly. Okay, well, one way, and this is one of the few times where putting some inline CSS isn't a bad thing, but I'm going to say in here border equal 1. That's all I'm going to say, is just border equal 1. And notice it's looking a little better. It's kind of hard to see with this coloring. All right, but it's looking, I think, at least a little bit better. Let's see. I'm going to go back here. And I'm going to make the background, I don't know, does it take like eggshell? No. Cream? No. See. Corn silk, that looks pretty good. All right, we'll go back and we'll make this black again. In fact, we'll make this gray. All right, see how that looks. I don't want that, I want this. There we go. I don't know if I made it better or worse. Make your, draw your own conclusions, I guess. So I'm starting to explain to you how a table is made. We'll make this black. I think maybe that'll be better. That's not too bad. All right. So let's start actually creating the table. So tables create. We got our. We're going to have our another table row in here, and now we put in table data. So Jeff Scott and the department, application and website development. It's going to look a little skewed, but that's still totally fine. Whoops. All right, so there's me. We'll put in Evan Goodmestead, and here we'll put in Charles Corrigan, and he's in information technology. We'll put in Brock Parsons. He is also in information technology. And finally, we will put in Mr. Chad Groharing, who is also in information technology. So now, looks a little bit more like a table. All right, again, I can space this stuff out and whatever. All I'm trying to show you, though, is the main things that you'd put in a table. So these right here are the table rows. You may or may not be able to tell, but by default, they are centered. Each one of these represents a table row of table data. So there's a first name, there's a last name, there's a department. First name, last name, department, etc. Now, I can come in here and I can put in, for example, I can put a caption in here. So under this table, before I even put in the table rows, I can put in a caption, and I can say something like Rankin Technical College Faculty. And you can see what I get here. I believe, I could be mistaken here, but I believe I can also put this down at the bottom, if for some reason you'd rather do that. Let's look. Nope, still put it up at the top. There might be an attribute I can tell it where to place it. I don't remember. It's not that important. All I'm trying to show you are the main components for setting up a table. That's all. All right, and again, if I wanted to, not that this is a good way to do it, but I could come in here, do a strong here. Again, that's that's some inline CSS, so that's not really recommended. But we're going to talk about later, we will talk about CSS. So there we go. All right. And I believe if I wanted to, I could even come in here and put in a line break if I wanted to. Nope, doesn't take that, but it still doesn't look bad. I'd have to go in and I would go in and manually put in some padding. We'll go back and look at a lot of this stuff when we go through the CSS, and we'll probably use the same file a little bit later. Okay. So, tables used to be used for a lot of different stuff because they typically, it's easy to center stuff using tables, etc. Now they really should only be used for tabular data. So tables go into table tags. They consist of rows. All right. You can have headings. You can put content in table data tags. So if we had this, it would look like this. All right. I put the border in there just because I thought it was easier to read. Here they've added some CSS so you can see how much nicer it looks. All right. So again, I'm going to come in here and do the same thing that they've got here. I'm going to grab their CSS. All right. And I'm going to put it into my CSS. So there's that table heading and table data. But now I'm going to come back to here, and where I set this, I'm going to get rid of that border. And let's see what it looks like. Oh, not the way I thought it would. So let's see. There we go. Looks a little bit nicer, a little more spread out, etc. If you didn't notice it too, it was because I had a double quote there and didn't know how to handle that. The other thing I could do too is I could come in and say, for example, caption should take this, I would think, but we'll find out. So padding, I don't know, 0.5 rem. See if that spaced it out a little more. Not much, but a little bit. How about setting it to a rem? Oops, I keep doing that, but I do. How about 1.5 rem? There you go. Now there's a little more space in there. Looks pretty nice. All right. You can have stuff span over multiple rows or multiple columns. You span over multiple columns with col span. You span over multiple rows with row span. All right, so there's row span, and you can have col span as well. Okay. All right, I showed you the headings. More tags. Yeah, it says this is best when using big tables. Well, again, typically the more tags you add, when you are adding additional tags like that, not always, but you're doing it for the benefit of those people who have some kind of an impairment, whether that be their sight impaired, hearing impaired, or something else impaired. The more tags you put in there, typically the easier it is for one of these specialized browsers to figure out how things are. So they've added a T-head tag, and they've added a T-body tag, and they've added a T-foot tag. All right. I think personally, usually at least, that's a little overkill. All right. But everybody's different. All right. Let's jump down into multimedia tags. And we'll talk audio, we'll talk video. So let's start with audio. Okay. All right. Because they are starting with audio. So let me come back into here, and let me go into here, and I'm going to take my whole table, and I'm going to comment that out. And I've got the table inside of the form. That wasn't good. There we go. All right. So let's come in here, and let's add an audio clip, and let's add a video clip. All right. So let's just go, and let's go online. I just put it, I don't want audio clipper, I want audio clip. So here's an audio clip. Okay, so I'm going to grab that.
How to take a normal ebook from Google Docs and turn it into a beautiful flipbook.
And there it is.
Or ebook. It's super easy. It only takes about 10 minutes using this software called Designer. You can basically turn any
I'm going to grab that URL,
Google Docs, anything into beautiful.
And I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. God, that's a bad. There's got to be something better than that.
What's cracking, guys? In this video I'm covering the audio clip, extending clip to image, text, and audio.
All right. So let's come in and see how they've talked about it here. So the audio tag source equals this. And I'm going to try this. I have no idea if it's going to work the way I think it is or not. Okay. So I'm going to put in here an audio tag. Source equals. In fact, let's do this. I'll grab one of my own. Okay. So let me go here. And pardon my mess. All right. And I've got to just grab the actual MP4 file now. So give me a second here. All right. All right. So I've added this audio source equals this. Let's see what this does. Bring that up in live server. And there's nothing there. Source equals. Probably should end my tag. There we go. Now let's look at it. All right, let me look here. Been a while since I played with audio tags. We'll add the controls attribute there too. All right. Well, it's giving me the controls, but it's not, for whatever reason, it doesn't appear to be finding this. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this, and I'm going to copy it to the clipboard to make it much easier. So copy, paste. So, all right, so audio with controls, and the source should be right here. So let's see if I fix this. I don't know if I did or not. Doesn't like something. All right. This element can stream audio, maybe using a microphone, etc., or it can play audio. Yeah, audio source equals, and I've got that with my ending audio. By default, it doesn't show any controls for this element, which means it will play only if you set it to autoplay. All right, to show the built-in controls, you add controls. I did that. I don't think it has to come after this. So let's come back in here. It's like it's not recognizing this, and I don't know why. It's an MP4. Maybe it's because it's an MP4 and not an MP3, so let's check that out. Sample audio files. I don't want to download something that's 54 meg. All right. Just grab this. Come on. There's that. So it's an MP3. All right, we'll put controls on there, but I shouldn't need autoplay. All right, so let's look. Well, there's got to be something very fundamental that I'm doing wrong here. Audio source equals this. Oof. I've shown these things before and never had a problem with them. It wasn't grabbing the path for whatever reason. So, how did we do that? Well, we added an audio tag. We gave it the source. I just gave it the address to that on the internet. I asked for it to have controls. Okay, if I wanted it to start up immediately, I could say auto. Oops. Could put autoplay in there, you'll notice. So, start it up immediately. That's going to be very irritating very quickly. So let's get rid of that. All right, then there's a video tag. Let's try this one and actually see if I can grab my MP4 file. All right, so this, instead of file.mp4, c:\users\jpscott /desktop / I don't remember what that was called. All right. See if that does anything. Does not like video source equal. It's not liking these right here. It's not liking these paths. Don't know why. Users, jpscott desktop. Users, jpscott desktop. And that was correct too. But it doesn't like that. So I'm going to do the same kind of thing here. What do I mean? I'm going to come back here and I'm going to say sample MP4 file. Here's 11 sample files. All right, let's grab the second one here and I'm going to copy the link address. Save that and try to run this again. Good golly, this shouldn't be that difficult. Video source equals. We can add controls again, so let's see if that's what it is. Here we go. Again, it doesn't like this. Video source equals. Download sample file for download. But there should be an actual MP4 on the end here. I think that's what's screwing that up. Let's see if I do go back and put in what we had before. So I'm going to put in here c:\users\jpscott /desktop / let me grab that file. Save that. Go back and look again. My goodness. Okay. Yeah, but this, like I said, this is giving me a path. Sample MP4 file download for testing. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, this is another. I don't want that. All right, let's try that. There we go. So what did we put here? Just to show you, video source equals, and I gave it the address to an actual MP4 file, added the controls, video. That's it. All right. So even though I butchered that a little bit, I did show you audio, I did show you video. A lot of stuff you can do with it, and as it says there, you can use JavaScript. All right, you can listen for various events happening on the video element. You can read those yourselves. Here's an iframe. Now I'm going to show you what I consider to be a much easier way than what they show here for the iframe. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go in and I'm actually going to bring up. So let me over here and go to youtube.com and I will bring in me. And I'm just going to grab one of these. So let's see. Here's one I did for a summer camp. Yeah, how about this? Fundamentals of MySQL. That's fine. All right, so that's me. All right, I'm going to come in here.
Jeff Scott of
I'm in
Rankin
YouTube
Technical
right
College,
now.
and as part of the Rankin Technical College.
You don't want to hear me. But I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say, let's see. Download clip, save, report, show transcript. Analytics, edit video. Show less. I'm going to grab somebody else's. So let me just go out to YouTube. Okay. And last night I watched, it's a little, let's see. I'll grab this from MSNBC. Okay. So I've got this stuff here for MSNBC. And this is just some video that some commercial that's playing. But I just want to show you that when it gets done, this is Steve Kornacki. Okay. I'm going to click where it says share. All right. There's the URL. And I'm going to click where it says embed. Now I'm going to grab every bit of this that's in here, copy it to the clipboard, go back to my document, comment all of this out, and paste in that iframe. Okay, so we've got iframe with a width, just going to keep hitting enter here, with a height, with an address of where it lives, with a title, with a frame border, with an allow. So there it all is. All right, so let me do a file, save all. This should work right away. And there it is.
I've been absolutely
and you'll notice
stunned.
that I can Make it go full screen.
How self-destructive, in my
But
opinion,
by
that
default, that's the size it is. I can play with the sound, etc. So what did I do? Let me go back and redo that whole thing for you again, okay? I'll grab a different clip. So let me see if I can grab my own clip. I don't know if I can or not. All right, so let me go back in here. Go back into YouTube. Again, I'll put myself in there. Grab any one of these, that's fine. Click on Share. Click on Embed. And it brings up an iframe. Grab all that stuff for that iframe. Copy it to the clipboard. I'll leave the one that was in there. I'll leave it in there, and I'll put another one right down below it. All right. In fact, it'll probably go on the side of it, so let me put in a BR tag here. So when you do this, notice it gives you a default height and width, and you can change that. So I can change these numbers. So if I want this to be 760 by 515, for example, this is the source, so that's where that lives out on YouTube. This is the title of it, so it's YouTube Video Player. We're telling it to have no frame. I don't know what the accelerometer does. I don't know. All right. And this says to allow it to run full screen. So let's save that and let's run this again. And you'll notice that now they're both in here. All right, so there's mine. All right, hello once again, Jeff Scott of Rankin. Get that guy off. And the other one was still in here as well. All right, this is because I just made the size a little weird. All right, in fact, looking at it, did I make it instead of, yeah, I made it 5315. So that should have been 515. Now it'll look a little bit more normal. There you go. So there's mine. And there's the other one. Now, what I just showed you wasn't exactly the way they show it in here, but it's the easiest way that I can think of to show you how to go in and add a YouTube video in. Okay? All right. I'm going to stop right now, and when I pick it up, we'll have the last part in here, and we're going to talk about images and I think accessibility as well. So I'll be back with that shortly.